multi-domain operations, I will tell you, it's I am positive. One thing I'm positive, it's the way of the future in warfare, and we're either going to do like we are now, innovate and move towards multi-domain operations to either win a conflict in the future or prevent it, because nobody would be stupid enough to fight against us, or we're going to be forced to do it because we lose someday pretty badly, and we're going to have to do it. And I hope that's not the case.
So you're trying to get ahead of the curve.
Get ahead of the curve, not fight the last fight, but fight the future fight. And in fact, maybe not have to fight because we're so darn good, nobody can match us. And so this is an evolutionary thing. You go back to the Civil War, the Battle of Vicksburg, and the Army had to work with the Navy and a river in that case to win at Vicksburg. With
Grant actually diverted the river.
There you go, exactly.
Yeah, Grant's Canal.
And so you got domains in play there, you know, a little bit of maritime and land. However, things have changed, as you know, as well as anybody. The world's gotten so complex, and now there are these other domains out there. Cyber, space. I would also count the human domain as well, I think is the most important.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, you know, what I mean by the human domain is that when you look at conflict, it's a contest of wills, and people are involved. It's about people. I mean, there may be, machines going against each other, and some people say, oh, it'll all be autonomous AI and all machines in the future. I certainly don't believe that. There'll be autonomous vehicles. There'll be a lot of that's done, but people are always going to have to be involved. That's the nature of conflict, and so it's influence over those people. And what we're seeing today is, you can influence someone before you're even at conflict with them, and you can influence them in the cyber domain, and you can influence them in the space domain, and you can influence, and there are no boundaries in these domains.
Okay, so I think, forgive me, sir, you're a 4-star general.
Yeah.
You're a very important individual, but I'm a simple man,
yeah.
And so I need it broken down for me. So.
Okay.
For example, I know I've been keeping up with the news, and I know that there's huge social media campaigns that occur before an actual battle ever occurs now.
Right.
Is that true?
Well, they call it the gray zone effect, and there's, you look at what some nations are doing. Russia's pretty darn good at it. China as well, where in what we used to call phase 0, pre-conflict, I don't like that term at all. I think it's always, there's always going to be competition, and we're in a hyper competition now, always. And you're exactly right. They will be working to shape and influence people's perceptions before a conflict even occurs, and hope that what happens is it's a fait accompli, that before we even fire a bullet, they've already won. And if you look at Russia and Ukraine, a little bit of that. We call them little green men. They took off their patches, claimed they weren't Russians, just to put just enough doubt. Cyber stuff happening, events happening, and it wasn't quite, they're just staying right below the threshold of conflict. But yet,
and then as soon as it was time to turn conflict, it was already over.
Already over. They already had the territory. They already had what they wanted. Now they hold on to it. So this is new. And there are other aspects that are new. I would tell you that the speed of human velocity of human interaction is at a rate never before seen. You can put out a video and millions look at it. And when I was your age, there's no way I could get millions of people to look at anything. I can have a private that does something have 106,000 people in the U.S. Army in the Pacific. I can have a private that does something that's on CNN tonight. Worldwide impact, influence, good or bad. That's changed, the speed of perception. And when I was talking this one time, and someone confronted me and said, well, hey, things move fast in the Civil War. By telegraph, things move fast. They may have moved fast, they didn't diffuse rapidly. Now you can diffuse, and send a tweet, send a tweet and halfway around the world, and billions of people are paying attention to it, right? So this has an impact in conflict. It has an impact in everything in our society. Business, sports, military, conflict. It's a huge impact. And so you've got all the domains, air, land, sea, space, and I think around all of them is this human domain that is the most complex, the most important. And let's get back to multi-domain operations. We're going all over the place. I want to try to simplify it as best I can for you. So it's an evolutionary process over time. We've had air, land, sea. We're evolving, but it's a revolutionary impact where you're maneuvering in all domains to a position of relative advantage. So what we were just talking about was maneuvering in cyber to a position of relative advantage pre-conflict, maneuvering in space to a position of relative advantage, and to take advantage of multi-domain operations. If you truly work together, one of our strengths, we're more joint than any force in the world, the U.S. military. We're still not joint enough. And so we've got to work where it's not the exception where we're working really well together, not joint integration. I'm sorry, joint interdependence, but joint integration.
Let me ask you this. So yesterday I was over the water watching an engagement by a foreign nation engaging a target with information from U.S. satellites provided on a different type of communication network. Why is it? So I just see the engagement. I'm a missile tester. I test the missile, but I don't get to see the chess game. So I'm a little too close to the board. I'm the pawn.
So think about, you know, in the past, if the services are in stovepipes, and you can do things in your service pretty well, but if you have a menu of options of all the service capabilities, like you saw yesterday. So there was a missile that launched from the land, can destroy a ship at sea, and it was controlled by an Army element, but using Navy, Air Force, Marine, and as you mentioned, some national satellite means things never before used to pull it together and enable it to talk and work together. That gives you more options against an adversary. Anybody would want more options. It allows you to present multiple dilemmas to an adversary. Instead of a linear, here comes the land forces, here's the maritime forces, here's the air, we're working together. It's very linear and predictable. It's very unpredictable, multi-domain operations.
So that's the goal, is to be unpredictable.
Unpredictable, present multiple dilemmas to your adversary that they have to deal with, and then multiple options to your leadership. And that's what you saw a little taste of yesterday. Now picture if that ship is trying to skirt into the littorals to avoid our strength at sea that our Navy, the best in the world, has. So they're trying to skirt around it. Well, the Army can engage that ship now and destroy it. So now it has to go back out to sea and be right in our engagement area where we're going to destroy them. So you're pairing up together all domains, maneuvering to a position of relative advantage in each domain, working together to create those windows of opportunity where you can dominate your adversary. The other good thing is, you know, the reason I talk about the human dimension, the human domains in all this, you can't do this if you can't empower people.
What do you mean?
Well, if you've got someone that you tell them a task and that's all they can do, this would never work. You have to have the ability to empower, what we call in the Army Mission Command, but the other services have similar versions, where I can give someone an outcome I want. They figure out how to get there. They'll amaze you with what they do. Talented young leaders, our people are our advantage. The best non-commissioned officers in the world. The best leaders that are taught to thrive in ambiguity and chaos.
Multi-domain battle, we have multiple layers. You're playing 4D chess. But you're saying it's like the chess pieces are alive themselves. Yeah. And they can think on their own.
Good analogy.
For what moves best.
And it's not you. There's no longer the central figure moving that piece. It moves too rapidly. Those pieces are empowered and can move themselves, but work together and know how to work, so they're integrated because they practice together all the time, just like we were doing yesterday and just like you saw historically for the first time, doing that on a regular basis. So you really develop a web of options that you can use to keep an adversary completely off guard, and you're completely unpredictable in that. So you're using all domains, all angles you can to present those multiple dilemmas, and that requires incredible joint integration. That's not natural because we all grow up in stovepipes. You know, 37 years I've been Army, trained in Army schools. Yeah, I did joint time, I was on the joint staff and stuff, but I think of an Army solution first. So you got to get out of those stovepipes. Maybe there's a better air solution, maybe a better cyber solution, maybe a better maritime solution.
I think I see what's happening right here, sir. So this is U.S. Army Pacific.
Right.
You're the guy in charge of the 4D chessboard. Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, portions of it maybe.
Portions of it. Yeah. And so it's multi-domain operations. We've got land, sea, space, air, cyber. Is this video a weapon?
Absolutely.
What? So I just made a weapon that is
pretty
part
much.
of the multi-domain operation?
Well, if it can help folks understand, number one, if it can deter those that would do us harm, it's a hell of a weapon.
Really?
And if it can help those who are working this understand it a little better, support it a little better, it's a heck of a weapon. So yeah, I guess you could almost say that. It's pretty. That's why you're doing this. You're pretty clever with these analogies here. Yeah.
I don't know what to do with this information now. That's pretty amazing. So war is changing.
Yeah, there's no question. We're at an inflection point. And, you know, some of the things, the reasons we go to war, maybe not changing, but the character of war with technology, I mean, significantly changing.
I'll be honest, when I was growing up, a soldier, the stereotype of an American soldier was a tough person with big muscles that could run far and pick up big things.
Yeah.
Now it's a hyper-intelligent individual?
Well, I wouldn't go away. Physical, prowess is key for a soldier because it's still tough work. And I would say in all the services, being physically fit is still key. In fact, we just developed a new Army combat physical fitness test that's excellent. It helps you prepare you for what you will face in combat. So you still have to be physically fit. You got to be more of a holistic person, but you've got to learn. And I wouldn't say it's hyper-intelligence. I'd say it's the ability to solve a complex problem in a timely manner with a creative solution. The ability to thrive in ambiguity and chaos. That's not necessarily hyper-intelligence. It's the ability to make the right decision, know when you have enough information, know when you don't have enough information. It's common sense. It is intelligence, but it's training, education that we have to do, and we're doing different than we did in the past. We might have told somebody in the past, here's your task, here are the exact steps you need to take to accomplish it. Shouldn't do that anymore. Here's the outcome I want. You figure out how to get there. That's the difference.
War is changing. Thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely.
I feel like you're the game master or something. And there's a huge, not a game.
One thing I am
war
positive.
Is not a game.
One thing I am positive though is if we do this right, if we truly come together and integrate in a joint manner as the United States, along with our our allies are so key. That's why, as you saw, we had a Japanese ground self-defense force involved, and our great allies around the world are critical. We're not going to do anything alone. But if we come together and we truly get multi-domain operations right, it'll be absolute key to peace and stability in the future, because no one would be foolish enough. And some of these nations we've been talking about, many out there, they don't have the people, the ability to empower people the way we do. And that's, it's that American spirit that is a huge advantage, has been for a long time. We can't handcuff those folks. We got to empower them, and that's what multi-domain operations is all about. And I sure wouldn't want to go against us when we do it right. Nobody wants to fight. The best thing would be, again, the deterrence where we never have to fight, because nobody would be foolish enough to go against us. So that's the best thing. So I thank you for being interested in this, flying around in a helicopter above a missile being fired, several missiles being fired,
awesome.
pretty gutsy, and coming out and seeing some of these things, just a small taste of it. Got a lot to connect, a lot of work to do, pull all the pieces together. But if anybody can do it, the United States military can. I feel very confident, and I'm very proud. The United States Army leading the way with multi-domain.